If you've been in a relationship with a woman who has strong traits of covert narcissism, you might still be wondering what the hell happened to you. Why did you become so anxious, so hypervigilant? Why were you constantly walking on eggshells, monitoring her moods, second guessing yourself, and never quite knowing where you stood in the relationship? Maybe you weren't like this before. Maybe you went into the relationship as a confident, grounded man and came out questioning your own worth, your own judgment, maybe your own sanity. And here's what you might not realize. Two fundamental things were slowly being destroyed in this relationship. First, your sense of safety, which is your ability to be yourself, to speak honestly, to make mistakes, to have needs, and to say no without being punished for it. And second, your sense of security, which is your ability to know where you stand and to trust the relationship and know that one disagreement, one boundary, one wrong move won't cost you everything. I'm Lise Leblanc, therapist, author, and life coach. And in this video, we're talking about 7 reasons a female covert narcissist dismantles your sense of safety and security. And stay till the end because I'll explain exactly how she does it. First thing is to gain psychological leverage and control over you. A covert narcissist quickly figures out exactly what you're afraid to lose, and then she starts making those things conditional. Because once she knows what you're terrified to lose, she doesn't have to control you directly. She just has to keep reminding you that she can take it all away. Think about it. If you feel safe and secure in yourself and in the relationship, you're not constantly chasing, proving, reassuring, appeasing, or trying to earn your worth. But once things you value most feel threatened, fear becomes your leash. And she doesn't have to pull very hard. She just has to keep reminding you of what happens when you step out of line. So she withdraws love and affection when you disappoint her. She keeps other men close enough to remind you that you're replaceable. So you work harder, you prove more, you try to make yourself more valuable. And without even realizing it, you stop asking whether she deserves a place in your life because you're too busy trying to make sure you don't lose yours in hers. Number two is to protect her version of reality. So when you feel safe and secure, you can speak honestly. You can challenge the contradictions and double standards. You can hold your boundaries. You can hold her accountable. You can say what you actually think. But what you'll notice with a female covert narcissist is that your honesty is treated like an act of treason because you think you're having a conversation about what happened, but she might be fighting to protect the version of herself and of what happened that allows her to remain the victim, the good person, or the one who is justified. So if you agree with her, you're good. If you challenge her, you're the enemy. And you will quickly learn that telling the truth has consequences. So you start walking on eggshells, you start filtering yourself, you start withholding information, over explaining, anticipating her moods and reactions, and you might stop bringing things up because you already know what it's going to cost you. And once you stop saying what you see, her version of reality becomes the only version allowed in the relationship. And that's how psychological safety disappears. You stop asking what's true and you start asking, how do I avoid triggering her? The third reason is to avoid feelings of rejection and abandonment. So here's what you need to understand. To a woman with strong covert narcissistic traits, your independence may feel like a threat to the relationship, to her sense of security. So if you want alone time, she sees it as pulling away. You spend time with friends, they matter more than she does. You enjoy something without her, you don't need her or want her there. You disagree with her, you're abandoning her. In other words, normal adult independence gets translated into rejection and abandonment. So what do? You give up your hobbies. You cancel your plans. You stop asking for space. You surrender more and more of yourself. But listen, a relationship that requires you to stop being yourself in order to prove your love is not intimacy. It's psychological captivity. Number four, your insecurity makes her feel more regulated. A covert narcissist may stabilize her own internal chaos by externalizing it onto you. She feels shame, anxiety, anger, emptiness, insecurity, jealousy, or fear, and she projects it. She provokes you. She withdraws. She accuses. She creates conflict and chaos. And suddenly, you're the one who's dysregulated. Now, you're anxious. You're defending yourself. You're chasing. You're explaining. You're trying to fix whatever the heck just happened. And while you're unraveling, she may actually become more regulated because the chaos that started inside of her has now been transferred to you. The fifth reason is that in her mind, your insecurity proves that she matters. So, for someone with a fragile or unstable sense of self, your emotional reaction can become evidence of her significance. If you are devastated when she withdraws, if you're desperate when she threatens to leave, if you're consumed when she goes cold or withdraws from you, then she has proof. I matter. I have an impact. I am important enough to destroy you. Number six, your insecurity keeps the focus off of her. So when you feel safe and secure, you have enough psychological distance to see what's actually happening. You can take that step back and notice patterns. You can question contradictions. You can ask, hey, wait a minute. Why am I always the one apologizing? Why does every problem somehow become my fault? Why am I the only one expected to change? But when you're insecure and destabilized, you lose that clarity. You get confused. You become consumed with what you did wrong. You question your judgment. You focus on your flaws. And while you're busy looking at yourself, you're not seeing her patterns. Remember this: any toxic relationship needs confusion to survive. So when you're constantly defending yourself, recovering from the last conflict or crisis, trying to prove your intentions, or bracing for the next emotional explosion, you never have enough psychological distance to step back and ask, what is actually happening here? Number seven, your stability makes her instability harder to hide. So think about it. If you remain calm, grounded, confident, and emotionally stable while the relationship around you is constantly crashing into chaos, eventually something becomes obvious. The chaos isn't coming from you. But once your sense of safety and security has been destroyed, that contrast can start to disappear because now you're emotionally exhausted and anxious and you're reactive too. You're saying and doing things that you never thought you would. And suddenly it becomes a lot harder to tell where the instability started. From the outside, it might just look like two dysfunctional people in a toxic relationship. And from the inside, you may start believing this too. Maybe I am just as bad. Maybe I am the narcissist or the problem. And that's what makes this dynamic so dangerous. Because when someone repeatedly destabilizes you, eventually your reactions can become almost as bad as the behavior that you're reacting to. And here's the paradox that might explain this entire relationship. She may constantly tell you that she doesn't feel safe with you, that she doesn't feel secure, that she can't trust you, that she needs more reassurance and validation, more proof, more certainty. So you spend years trying to give her what she says she needs. But look at what's actually happening. The safer and more secure you try to make her feel, the less safe and secure you are. So she gets reassurance while you get questions. She gets to express her every need and fear while you have to suppress yours. She gets to doubt your loyalty while you have to prove it. She gets to question your character and integrity, and you get to defend it. And slowly the entire relationship becomes organized around her sense of safety and security while yours is destroyed. As promised, this is exactly how it happens. So, in the beginning of the relationship, she makes you feel incredibly safe and secure through love bombing, idealization, and making you feel like her knight in shining armor. She makes you feel seen, chosen, wanted, needed. She can't get enough of you. She opens up to you. She tells you things she supposedly never told anyone else. She tells you how safe and secure she feels with you. And you start believing that she is the one. You let your guard down. You show her the parts of yourself that you normally keep protected. And that's because maybe for the first time in your life, you feel safe enough to be completely yourself. And then once you're deeply invested in the relationship and in her, everything changes. She starts pulling away. She starts questioning your integrity. She reminds you that she has other options. And the vulnerabilities you shared in moments of intimacy start getting weaponized against you. And now, suddenly, she doesn't feel safe with you. And now you're in a position where you will spend the rest of the relationship defending your character, proving your love and loyalty, seeking her approval to validate your worth, trying to convince her that you are still the man that she put on that pedestal early on in the relationship. And every once in a while, the warmth comes back, the affection comes back. And for a moment, you see the woman that you fell in love with, and you think, there she is. But then she pulls away again. And now you're in this game of cat and mouse. And if you've ever watched a cat play with a mouse, you know exactly what happens. The cat lets the mouse go, the mouse runs for safety, and just when it thinks it's going to escape, the cat pounces again. Then it lets the mouse go and the cycle repeats. And that's what this relationship can start to feel like. Because every time you think you finally found solid ground, you get pulled back in. And you might sometimes get the illusion of progress, but eventually you'll look in the mirror and you'll realize that it's not just your sense of safety and security that's been destroyed, it's your sense of self. And that's why recovery is about more than just getting over her. It's about rebuilding the part of you that learned it was no longer safe to trust yourself. And let me also say, you didn't become insecure because you were weak or naive. You became insecure because the relationship gradually trained you to stop trusting the things that normally create security. Consistency, your own perception and judgment, honest communication, cause and effect, and reality itself. So if you're in this situation, please consider reaching out to a therapist who understands narcissistic abuse and trauma bonds so that you can break free from this vicious cycle. And if you're ready to start rebuilding yourself, I created the Toxic Relationship Recovery Program specifically for men like you. And you can find the link in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.